Welcome to the OAPN Podcast with your host, Adarsh Sakare. No bullshit, no cuts. 100% raw conversations with 0% fucks to give. We don't encourage the consumption of alcohol, but if you want to open up a cold one while you watch this, it's not a bad idea.
Welcome to episode number 54 of On a Personal Note with Adarsh Sakare. We released the 53rd episode this evening with Harshita Mittal. I think it's pretty crazy how her work went viral on Shark Tank, and we tried our best to document that. So if you haven't watched it, do watch it at some point. Today is a pretty crazy episode too. We're shooting at probably one of the latest times we have shot. I think the latest we had started our shoot was at about 9 p.m. or 9:30 p.m. of sorts. But today it's almost 11:20 in the night. And it's a different vibe. It's a different vibe today. We've poured ourselves our first drink. So welcome to the episode. Before we introduce the guest and talk a little about him, let's say hi to Justin. Hi, Justin.
Hi, Akash.
Akarsh Allappa, it is Adarsh.
Adarsh. Okay, Adarsh.
Okay.
I think I need to go through your episodes first to get it right.
It's okay, man. I'm glad you didn't. Because it'll give you a totally fresh perspective and experience. But that being said, a little about Justin. I think what we found interesting about his profile when we looked into it was the field of Voxpop in itself is pretty interesting. And when I started out, I actually started with Voxpop. Did quick 2-3 bits. Enjoyed it, but not so much, and very soon figured that this is the concept I enjoy doing more. But apart from that, what caught my eye was this was another human being in the streets of Bangalore doing interviews and podcasts, and who loved talking to people, who loved capturing perspectives, which of course became like a common ground between us and him. Apart from that, what's the highlight of his profile, if you go and watch, he's got his brand game in place, right from speaking about the brands to the visual appeal of the profile itself. It's very attractive. There's a certain thing that makes it special, and it does stand out when you look at it, right? And if you look at Justin himself, I think you got your drip on all the time, 24/7. It does stand apart, and kudos to that. I don't know how you've picked that up.
Thank you so much.
But I think every outfit that you've ever worn on your profile, I don't know if you've thought it through, but I think you're playing the top game with it. So that's another thing that definitely stands out. Definitely a hustler in the making, because you know that he's doing a lot of work. I don't know your age. What's your age?
I'm just 21, bro.
You're 21.
Yeah, I'm turning 22 this July.
Fuck me, man. So 21-year-old, literally killing it, if I may say so. So pretty good episode to do here today. If you know Justin, awesome. This is the first time he's sitting down to talk about his side of the journey. He's usually on this side. If you don't know Justin, I think it's probably going to be worth your time to sit down and listen to this, right? So welcome to this episode. Jump in if you haven't poured yourself a drink. We welcome you to do so. If you don't want to, maybe grab some food and enjoy this episode. Anyway, Justin, thanks for doing this, man. This is nice to be doing this. I've always had a love for perspectives and interviewing people. I enjoy doing it. And for someone who's doing that on a constant basis, I'm glad to be doing this, because as an interviewer, I understand you won't do this too often.
Definitely,
right?
yeah.
You won't be doing this too often, so I'm glad to be doing this with you.
Definitely.
So anyway, just like to start off, how's life going as of today before we dwell into everything else?
Yeah, so first of all, that was quite a good introduction. So to every single viewer of yours, this is something that you need to know. This is the first time, the main highlight of this entire show is the first time I'm sitting on the other side.
Yeah.
So I'm the one sitting there and asking people, asking artists, asking celebrities the questions, interviewing them. And today I've been interviewed, and this is probably my first time. So, and that introduction was pretty solid. So like I have to give it to you. Really, thank you for that. And I heard that you came up with the term Bengalurian. So I am basically from Mysore. So if I say Mysore, I've been like born in Bangalore, but all my life I've lived in Mysore, studied in Mysore. But then once again, I know Kannada that much. I respect Karnataka, everything. And I know Kannada, I would say, even better than Malayalam. I am a Malayali.
Oh, is
So
it?
if you didn't know that.
What?
I am from Kerala, so my roots are from Kerala.
Okay.
So before
Very hard to guess.
Yeah, so that's very hard to guess because both my parents, like, they are Mallus, but they were born and brought up here in Karnataka, in Bangalore and in Coog. And then they settled in Mysore and then they had me.
Okay.
So that's my story. So life in general, yeah, like if it goes back to Instagram, I didn't know like I would be sitting on a talk show with others today here. Okay, like to be honest, like I started my account called HyperFitX. HyperFitX, the reason being because I'm an internationally certified fitness trainer and a nutritionist, and I have online clients as well. So I started off like with fitness content and stuff like that. And then one day, like I just spoke to this really special and close friend of mine,
Okay.
and I just wondered like why don't I do something like Voxpop, because people in India are really not doing it. And even if they're doing it, it just seems boring because they're trying out in regional languages and stuff.
Yeah.
But in the end, it's not getting those catchy answers, catchy responses, and the way you put in the edits, especially in Instagram, in the Reels format. So I just started off doing like 2-3 videos like that. And
It's
then,
also the people you choose to
Yeah.
interview on the streets.
What?
It's also the people you
Yeah,
choose
exactly.
to interview on the streets. You need to choose the right ones. Not everyone's a great
Exactly.
response.
Exactly. So if you like see the number of people that's actually coming in to actually come in front of the camera, I would say that's a 2 on 10.
Yeah.
So going back to like where I started, so I would have like done just 3 Voxpop reels and I just left it there. And I continued posting my fitness stuff because that is what like I was aiming on my page. And then out of nowhere, these reels blew up so much, like straight 4 million and like 3 million my other video, and just my other video again like 2 million. And then I just realized there is something in this that people are really interested, and the comment section also went crazy, like 4,000 comments on my very first Voxpop reel, and people started using the audio and stuff. So that's when I realized like there is something you can tap on which people haven't tapped on.
Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah.
I'm glad you're bringing this up, and we're going to dive into it.
Okay.
But I definitely want to rewind a little before we jump into some of these things that you just mentioned, right? First of all, the boy from Mysore doing street interviews in Bangalore, the chances of that is close to nil.
Exactly.
Right? What is it? When I look at you, I know that there's a large amount of exposure you've gotten, not just towards, the pop culture or the culture that exists today, but just generally, right from music to artists to awareness of brands. Where did that awareness come in? Did that come in just because of personal interest or because of some work that you did?
So if I dive down like deep into that, I would say like it just started with my fears.
Okay.
So
what
my
are these fears?
first fear being like I wasn't this person like who would go in front of people and actually like speak or just approach people just like that and like just start a conversation. Or like even if I was called for a debate back in school, like I wouldn't just go there. Like I would be like trembling and trying to give that debate or trying to sing and stuff like that. So first I wanted to get rid of that, like my public fear, my stage fear, and also like make my communication game good. So once I made my communication game good, that's when I realized I can speak to more people. So you just asked me about the music, about artists and everything. So I myself was an electric guitarist. So I'm a professional electric guitarist and a singer. So that's how like music somehow connected to me. And I tapped into these entertainment industries. I just started approaching everyone I know. Like Mysore is a smaller city compared to Bangalore. And I just tried to like close everyone in Mysore, make good contacts first. So that's how like I would tap in.
So I want to try and make it even more specific here. You did schooling in Mysore.
Yes.
You finished schooling and then what did you do?
I finished schooling and then I did my 11th and 12th again in Mysore itself. And then I did with Mysore University. I did correspondence BCom. So I'm graduated. I'm a graduate
Okay.
BCom. And then apart from that, I also did this international certified fitness training course, like and diploma in
And that
nutrition.
was, say, when you were 18, 19,
18, 19. So I did all.
while you were doing BCom and correspondence.
Exactly. So I did all 3 degrees together.
The reason for doing BCom and correspondence was.
The reason being like I thought I would take up CA, Chartered Accountancy. So I tried to write my first CA foundation. I prepared for it and I was like almost going to write it. And the day of the exam came, and this is an actual story. The day of the exam came, we have like 4 subjects. I went and wrote 3 subjects, and the 4th subject I had to go write. I did prepare for it, and I did not go and write the 4th one, thinking that this accounts and doing this is really not my thing, because I really have a creative mind.
Okay.
And I feel like a corporate life is definitely not for me. And something
You
like,
figured that out.
yeah, something like chartered accountancy is again, even if you have your own office, it's again like kind of a corporate life, and not really putting your skills and your creative mindset into play. So that's when like I realized, like this is not my thing.
When was the first inclination towards music? At what age?
Music, I would say like around 12 years old. That's when I started playing the guitar.
Okay.
So I went to
So you
guitar
were playing
classes.
school.
Yeah, I used to play in
Part of
school.
the choir and.
Yeah, so me being a Christian myself, so
Okay.
I have like gone to the church. I played guitar there. I've been part of the choirs, even in the school on stage, and also like I had this mini.
Are you also a vocalist? Or?
Yeah, vocalist as well. So like I used to like put up small videos on YouTube when I was in 6th grade. So I used to do stuff like that. So music is always been in my heart.
Music was there, and
Definitely.
I mean, you continue to grow with that, in some sense, right?
Exactly.
And then fast forward to you being 18 and 19. Were you always an athletic individual, or did fitness come into your life a little later on?
To be honest, it came later on, because like I just felt like, like I used to play a lot of football back in school. And then when I started this correspondence course, and that's when COVID also just hit. Like at my first year of correspondence is when COVID hit. And like I was just getting lazy. I was getting a bit fat. And because the football, and I used to like also participate in marathons and stuff like that, I was just generally very thin and athletic. But then just sitting lazy and everything just like got me there. And I just decided, okay, I'm doing correspondence either way. So let me like connect to this
Spend
academy
time.
in UK. And I did also this diploma course with California. So that's how my nutrition course got like
You
sorted.
finished that as well.
Yeah, so that's how I just decided, okay, let me start off my fitness journey by actually learning about it. Let me just not start. And then I really took it up seriously for a very long time.
Because your content, right? If I look at your content,
Yeah.
the initial bit is focused more on fitness.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So until then, like until last year beginning, I would say, I was trying to put out like fitness content, and I also got like a lot of online clients through them, even international clients as well.
Okay.
So like I used to work this module of 60 days transformation program, 90 days, and I used to train myself and also like help them transform. But then lately with the whole Voxpop and the podcast, it's been a lot of traveling, especially because back from home, Mysore traveling and everything.
There's a
Apart
lot
from
of-
that, yeah, there's a lot of back end work, and every single edit that you see on my page is done by me.
Okay.
So I'm the
There's
one
no-
like
there's no
sorting the
editor in
clips,
place.
editing. I'm the one being in the interview, doing the interview, speaking to people. So it just got tiring at one point. But fitness, I'm still trying to like be there and keep it in loop. But definitely, yeah, like I'm planning to like completely get back into track with that.
Yeah. So ideally, by pretty much last year, you are at this phase where you finished this correspondence BCom. You have this inclination towards fitness. You've made some content. You're not doing the corporate,
Definitely.
the corporate life. You aren't going for that. So the first biggest question is, okay, how am I going to make my buck, right? Which was that first buck that you made that made you believe that there's something here for you?
Okay, to be honest, the way before coming to that first money I made,
Yeah.
so the whole thing was like I wanted reach,
Mm.
and like I just wanted to make sure that whatever I'm doing is like reaching people enough, so that like whatever I'm doing has like some support behind, even if it's just viewers, even if they are not like actually following me. Even now, I don't call my followers as followers. I call them as supporters. So that I think makes a huge difference because they're still supporting me in my journey. So speaking about the first buck I made, so that comes with the Voxpop reel as well. So I never charged them a price. So I had this brand which I cannot take in now.
Yeah.
So this brand just came and told me, how much do you charge for Voxpop? And I blindly just told them about 3K. And they just said, okay, fine, done. So I was like, I should have told something more.
Something more.
And then I just realized, okay, just doing Voxpop also has a lot of potential. You can also monetize the stuff you're doing. And from there, it just led to multiple brands. And now I worked with like really huge brands like Redmi, Axe India, Fasten Up, and now even Imagine Store, which is
The
an
one you
Apple
went
experience.
for
So
today.
yeah.
And we're going to delve into collaboration with these brands and how that experience has been. One of the main things that you brought up today, even before we started the shoot, was the follower count doesn't matter too much, right? The game has changed. The game is reach.
Yeah.
Now, of course, you're on this journey of ensuring that your account has the most reach possible. You're getting as many brand collaborations possible, everything else. But to support all this, there has to be this motivation that lies within to keep all this going, right? What is it that Justin is chasing?
Okay.
What keeps all this running? Why are you doing this? Is it what you want to be acknowledged? You want to make money? What is your core motivation to do all this?
Okay. So I would say, like, as you just said in the last line, being acknowledged, being respected, being making money. So in the end, even that matters.
Yeah.
So when it comes to like, I'm doing this whole thing with the artists and celebrities. So you can see that I've done with numerous techno artists who have come into India.
Yeah.
And they've all come from Germany. I've done with one of the best, which is Boris Bracha.
Yeah.
And apart from that, I've done like other artists like Mark Hoffen, Mia Mendy, Big and Dan. So these are artists from different countries. So the thing is, these artists come, the entertainment companies pay them some amount of money. They come and perform and then they just fly back. There is no story. And even these big artists, I feel like even they have something to express.
Yeah.
Right? Like, even if you go and type their name and type interview or podcast with them, there is nothing as of now. Even though they are being like called into India, called into Bangalore and coming and performing. So it's also like I'm doing something, I'm tapping this industry which has not been tapped before, especially doing like podcasts and interviews with these artists. And apart from that, when it comes to like my personal gain, I would also say I want to be this person who's standing out in this industry. So yeah.
What is this industry you're talking about? How do you
This-
define the industry you want to stand out in?
Yeah, this industry I'm talking about is, I wouldn't call it regular podcasts or regular interviews or just Voxpop. What I would say is like this whole artist interviews and artist podcast, like there is a lot that expresses music, like expresses a lot. You're right.
Yeah.
Music itself, it has like a lot of meaning to it.
Yeah.
And when we ask these artists about their creative process, when we ask them like what made you get into music, it also like pushes a lot of homegrown artists, a lot of other artists to also like watch these kind of stuff. And the thing is, okay, like let me talk about a podcast.
Yeah.
So ideally, a person watching like a 1 hour podcast is a person who generally watches a podcast regularly. Like that is what I would believe, and that is what I have like seen among even my friends who watch podcasts and stuff. But with this kind of content, where my interview or the small talk we have with like artists are like 15 to 20 minutes max. And this 15 to 20 minutes, I have an audience, a wide audience of not just people who watch podcasts. I have a audience who go like into clubbing, who go into the party scene, who are really interested in music, interested in this whole culture. It's also like building a community around me and among this whole scene.
So none of your interviews last more than 20 minutes?
No, I don't think
Yeah?
so. None.
Wow.
I think there was like certain instances where, like either the
So it's a mini
artist.
podcast.
Yeah, I would call it a mini podcast, but certain times with bigger artists, it's just like an interview. I would just call it like a good interview. An interview because there is no other interview with them earlier.
Yeah.
So like tapping that scene first.
I think what's great about it is, like you said, some of these folks, they come perform and go back. But for even music to be generated, there's a story.
Exactly.
And nobody's talking about that story.
Exactly.
Right? Like when you're speaking about it, I thought of When Chai Met Toast. I've had like over time I've grown liking that band, and I went and saw them perform. And now that you're saying this, there's hardly anything about them on the internet. There is 2-3 good, well produced interviews, but not the best. Right? So I'm just thinking about all these artists who come down here, and they'll be willing to collaborate. I think they'll be willing to like speak about their story to a completely new audience.
Definitely.
How are you approaching these artists?
So the ideally, like, to approach an artist is not a very easy job because it goes through a lot of permissions.
We have learned that pretty well by now.
Yeah, because it goes through a lot of permissions. The first thing is you need to like be well versed with the entertainment industry. You need to know the owners of that particular company that is hosting that show, the artist manager, like who is bringing in the artist to the country, or even if it's an Indian artist, there's like a separate artist management team. Like Anonymous Entertainments in Mysore, they bring in artists from different places, so they do artist management, but also they do productions sometimes, like for certain events like Asa Bakari. So that time they're like doing the production, they're doing the event and stuff. So like knowing the main people in these companies and having a good relationship with them, and also your reach. Once again, it's not the followers, it's not just the numbers which just shows up on your profile. It's the views, it's the reach, it's the engagement. So if you see like every like reel on mine, recently I put a reel with Sartek. So I put a collaboration reel with Sartek. I think Sartek right now is the top third DJ in India. And I've not really seen any other interviews or podcasts with him. So I've done this interview and I put in a collaboration post with him, and I just went through the comments like after 2 days, and there were at least 40 plus verified accounts which have commented on that.
Wow, that's
And
huge.
Yeah, like
That's
40,
huge.
yeah, almost 40. Even now you can just go scroll up to that post and you can see the amount of verified accounts that have liked and commented. Most might be his followers itself, but them engaging into the content because he's speaking. Until now he's putting like, videos where he's performing and stuff, like, this is his show, how it happened, and with collaboration with other pages and stuff. But this is a show, this was a reel where he is doing an interactive session, speaking about certain things about his life, and then also speaking certain things about music, artist managers and stuff like that. Certain questions which I asked him. So I had like, and all those 40 people were musicians who were verified. So like people really like to see something like this, and I feel like something like this should be out there. And the thing is, once again, as I said, it's not just people who watch podcasts who are like my audience, it's also the general public. That's how the views and the numbers like are there.
What do you think is, if you want to drive, and we're going to talk about how you got here, but what is one thing that you're not doing right, if you had to talk about?
Interesting question. So
Or you can do better.
no, not doing right. I'll go with not doing right than better. Because like I feel at every step, whenever I do certain things, there is some screw up. Because like I really wish at the end of even a small interview, I could have done it in a different way. So there is like certain things that I'm still learning. I feel like learning is just a process for everyone, even for me, even for you, even for any content creator out there. So in terms of not doing right, I feel like on my account in Voxpop, like leaving the artists and celebrity interviews, I post a lot of controversial content, and that comes to like men and women war happening in my comment section.
Oh, is it?
So I don't know if exactly if I'm
That's
not
helping or not.
Yeah, so I don't know if I'm not doing right there by creating that entire controversy in the comment section and in my account, because every day, every week, if I see my followers increase and decrease rate, I've spoken to this to a lot of people, and I've even showed my insights. So it's like around 1,700 followed this week, but 1,400 people unfollowed. So
Oh, yeah?
there is only like 300 people gained that
you've
week.
gained.
So that's the reason you see that, like my followers number is not really increasing, but the
Not
views is there, the engagement is there, there's a war happening. So recently I just put a video, a reel, where I'm just asking this guy who's bisexual
Yeah,
about,
I saw
I
that.
think you would have seen it.
Yeah.
A guy who's bisexual, I'm just asking his opinion, like
What's the advantage of
what's the advantage of
being
being a
bisexual?
bisexual person. So I got someone commenting for that saying unfollowed, and there were 100 people liking that.
Yeah, of
But then
course,
that
like,
happens.
There's a good amount of people who are on both sides of the coin.
So it's not like it doesn't necessarily have to be like I'm supporting something or I'm not supporting. But if you think of a Voxpop creator's perspective, what you exactly have to do is put out all opinions raw.
That's your job.
That's my job. So I'm doing
You
that.
don't stand for nothing.
Exactly. I'm doing that and I'm not filtering that out.
Yeah.
So I get a lot from my friends and the people I'm really close to. And even this person who like really pushed me into content. So there is this one girl whom I ask,
Who's this special person you've been
it's just a special
mentioning?
friend. So
Okay.
who like really helped me, like at every step right from the beginning, like I've asked like a lot of guidance and everything. So she's just helped me throughout
Yeah.
the way. So there is always one person in a
Yeah,
person's
yeah.
life who would really help you. For you, it can be your team. For me, it is this person. So it's like that. So even this person, like certain times, just tell me leave the comments, don't go reply. So when somebody said like unfollowed, and I got like a lot of hate and stuff like that. So this really happened at one point that this because of these guys who hate it. And I have also like people who tend to, I won't call them fans, but like really loyal supporters. So they texted them, they did a war, they were like, we'll screw you up and all that. So there was a war like that.
Wow.
So I wouldn't want something like that on my account. Like, okay, let's just keep it peace here. I know there is controversial content, but I wouldn't want people fighting over my content or me in specific. So, and this happened just because I put one comment. So people started like supporting me because one hater put one comment, and if I replied to that. But
part of the
certain
journey.
times, like, at the end of the day, it's my account. It's my views, and I'm putting out everything raw there. And you being a Voxpop creator, the meaning of Voxpop is you approaching people. It's not a scripted video again. You approaching random people and putting out their opinions. So if it's a bisexual person, if it's not a bisexual person, if it's a feminist, if it's a misogynist, whoever it is, I'm putting their opinions. It's not that I like truly support that particular opinion. It doesn't have to be like that. But that is where like when you ask me like what is something I do wrong, like sometimes I wonder, should I just stop putting like certain things to just like cater everyone in my feed,
filter the opinions.
But then at certain times I'll be like, okay,
Then
this guy has his voice, but his voice will be never heard, and no one is going to put some reel about this bisexual guy speaking or something about like which could be very controversial. So that way my account, like that particular reel would have made 3 million views. But sometimes I feel like, okay, is that 3 million views worth it, or was this whole comment war worth it? But then at the end of the day, I just feel like putting out opinions is my job, and that's what I've been doing from the beginning, not filtering out certain things just to cater others. If I feel like it's good content for me, if I feel like it's not really creating that much harm for the person in the video, I would put it.
You'd put it. So Justin, at 21, right? At 21, I think one of the biggest questions everyone's asked is where's your life heading? Do you have a plan in place for yourself? Do you know where you're heading, etc.? We are now living in a time where the structures of careers have been broken, boundaries have been dissolved.
100%.
Boundaries don't exist. The ones who believe that boundaries exist are the ones who are lacking behind, because now it's open, right? Anyone's open to do anything. The work comes in many different ways than it used to come before. How is it now? There are many 21-year-olds who are sitting right where you are, wanting to create content, wanting to go down the path that you are going at right now, but probably they're having a lot of resistance from their family, because there's a lot of risk involved with it, right? I just want to understand where you come from in terms of your social background. Has there been resistance? If there has, what is it? If there hasn't been any resistance, how do you look at the risk that you are taking for yourself?
Amazing. So, firstly, like I feel every content creator out there has a certain amount of risk. And risk in the sense, I wouldn't say certain amount would be like majority. When a content creator is going out, especially starting out there is a lot of risk. And coming to like how support has been for me.
Yeah.
So, my mom passed away when I was in 10th grade. So, when I was
Sorry to
16,
hear. Yeah.
she had cancer and she passed away. But my dad has always been very supportive, like from the beginning with whatever I do. If it's music, even at the tough times or even at the good times, he's always supported me. So if it's like getting an electric guitar, going out there, I had a band for myself. So whatever it is, like he has pushed me. Even now today, I'm sitting in this podcast or this interview that you're doing right here. I called him and I told him that I'm here. So that way, like I really have support from his side. He like I really I don't really I wouldn't really say that he enjoys every Voxpop reel I do, because
Of course
again,
not.
because again
He is definitely not enjoying the fact that you're asking people about their sexuality and
true.
what they feel about it. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it, but again, we belong to different generations.
the generation gap is going to be there.
Yeah.
But the fact that my dad comes from a very huge family, like he himself is like in a family with 10 siblings. So
Wow.
I have like a lot of cousins,
Lot of
almost
cousins.
19 cousins only from my dad's side. So coming from a very huge family, I wouldn't compare the entire family, but comparing that generation, and when you compared my dad being in that generation, is very open and supportive to whatever I do. So that way, like in terms of support, I've got it. And I feel like he wouldn't be supportive if I did not like explain and tell him like I have a vision or I have a goal. So every time I go with Voxpop, like there is certain times even he has asked me, like, do you think this is getting you enough money? So the initial stages where I just got like 3K per reel and that was happening once a week. That used to go in my entire expenditure, staying 2 days here in Bangalore, traveling from Mysore. So everything is done. And I used to ask my dad for some expenditure the next month, like the next week when I had to go again and shoot. So initially it used to be like that. So that's what he was like asking me, like, okay, do you think this is really going to help? Why don't you just do your masters? So I am going to do my masters. That's going to happen next year though. So until then, I just want to keep hustling. But again, like he's been seeing each step that I'm taking, like from just doing random people from Mysore came to Bangalore.
What's his nature of work, if you don't mind me asking?
He's a businessman.
Okay.
Okay, so he's a businessman. He's into rosewood and teakwood furniture. He has a showroom called Tree Trends in Mysore. So yeah, that's marketing here. So
man, go for it.
Alright.
Enjoy it.
All
Go
right,
for it.
so
Anyway.
that's his business. So he's also very occupied in his business and everything, and I'm occupied in my work.
He doesn't want you to join his business and take
He
it
knows that
forward.
scale of business is different, and my creative mindset is like completely different. So if I would want to do something like that, he knows I would come and tell him. So he wouldn't like ask me to do. That's the best support I get. So coming to like other creators, you told me like how would they get the support? How would they like
What about your friends and relatives? I mean, are they all on board with what you're doing?
Yes, like right now, as of now, like everyone knows what I'm doing.
Yep.
I'm not really sure if they go again through my Voxpop, but Instagram had this Facebook sharing option. So which where like most of my reels which I used to post here on
Used to
Instagram
get
went out on
posted.
Facebook. So I had
You
like
didn't know that.
I knew that, but like that was like a separate page just for the that's a new update and something. So I had like my aunt and some watching this, and they just called my dad. What are these questions he's asking? What is he doing? Like, is this going to take him anywhere? So my dad told me this. But even when he told me this, he did not complain. He just like I just told him one thing. I will do something in life, like whatever I'm doing, I will scale it up. I will make sure I scale it up. And now I've come slowly to this point where I'm making decent amount of money for the little things I do, like Voxpop and interviews, that I have certain amount to save. So my long-term goal, like as you asked, is like to make a lot of money
Yeah,
and
of
then
course.
save some money and also like invest myself in some business. As of now, I've started off with stock market. So yeah, like also start up like a business with a plan next year. I wouldn't just say I'm going to do this business or that business or franchisee. I really feel like before you start a business, it really needs to have a solid plan.
Yeah.
So I feel like every creator should have multiple sources of income, because I
I
don't
think
feel
that's
like
where it is. Yeah.
that's definitely where it is. Even if it comes to an artist, he wouldn't be telling you, but a big artist would be having multiple sources of income. That's how he can get his Ferrari.
Yeah.
So that's exactly like how it works, right?
Yeah, because like you said, see, making money today, yeah, great, but for you to continue consistently making that and ensuring that there's an upward curve in it, you'll have to be able to scale it to some level. If you're not able to scale it, then I don't know. I mean, I think, like you said, I think then it goes down to what multiple sources of income that you want to make, right? So, what's exciting about this is it's established now that there are a lot of other ways to live your life
Yeah.
than having like a predetermined
Exactly.
thing, right? I'm just sitting across the table here and I'm looking at you, who's a 21-year-old, who's figured his way out to fuck the savings, right? But who's figured his way out to do what he loves on his own money. Now that is a dream for many 40-year-olds.
Definitely.
Many people at 40 are not able to do what you're doing at 21. So it's a great time to be alive that these opportunities actually exist. But I think the downside of it is we don't have reference points towards what this all leads to, right? This age of content making is fairly new. There's no reference point of what happens with it 15 years down the line, where content creators will end up, what most of them will end up doing. Will most of them actually scale it into a business, or is it something you did at one point of your life and then you went back to the structures that were already in place, right? So it'll be interesting to see that. But it's nice that you mentioned that the way forward is to create those multiple sources of income, or else you can't just be an artist and say, you know what, I'm going to live life of an artist. Then you'll be a poor artist. You'll not
For sure.
you'll not be rich and famous. You might be famous but definitely not rich. That's a big possibility. I know it's a debate, but that's a big possibility. Anyway, now coming into your Instagram growth that you've had, now why do you think your Voxpop has got so many eyes on you? What has worked for you according to you?
So yeah, coming with my Voxpop.
Yeah.
So as you've seen right now in Bangalore, right now in Church Street, you can also see a lot of people doing Voxpop. Like if you
It's
just
filled,
walk
boss.
yeah, if you walk on a weekend, now there are meme on Voxpop creators. There are memes on Voxpop
People are
creators.
scared of you all.
Exactly. Exactly. So the thing I do different is every Voxpop creator, there are certain creators who post like twice a day. They have grown their numbers as followers and stuff like that. But then at the end of the day, their followers, the people watching their videos, are watching just to hear the opinions of other people.
I agree.
Just to watch the opinion. So if you're following,
Not for the person.
yes, exactly. So I would
They follow the profile, not the person.
exactly where I was coming from. So there are pages which is 200k plus even in Bangalore. Okay, I wouldn't want to take the names, but yeah, you would also be knowing there are pages, certain
Don't,
pages.
because I might want to interview them.
Okay, that's nice. But you still called me first.
Oh, true. That took me 2 seconds.
See,
That took me 2 seconds,
that's
boss.
one difference I make.
Nice.
So
nice.
you
Love
told
it,
me
love
you
it.
would want to interview people
Yeah,
who have
yeah,
200k. Why did
love
you
it,
call
love
them
it, love
before
it,
me
love
then?
it. Go for it.
So that's the difference I make. So people are following them to watch the opinions of people. So that is just Voxpop content for them and their audience. But what I am trying to build here, the way I do my edits is very different from a regular Voxpop, video. Like if people have seen my videos, the way I put the fonts, the way I make it so crisp, like even like 0.1 second is like trimmed out if that's not necessary, and it's just that particular answer and everything. And also the way I also started this artist and celebrity podcast, that has also built my personality here. So now people watch my Voxpop not because they just want to watch people's opinion. They're watching the Voxpop on my feed because they want to watch me doing the Voxpop.
Yeah.
So that makes a lot of difference. That's why I'm here on the show today. So that makes a lot of difference.
Now he's just rubbing it in. I'm going to use it again. But I think
I got you there.
So, that makes a huge difference.
So yeah, like the 18K followers I have right now. Once again, like I said earlier, I just call them supporters. People who are staying constant on my feed. Every time I post, those 18K people are there to watch my videos and like. They are my supporters. The rest is my audience, which Instagram algorithm is pushing by itself. Thankfully, even now, the Instagram algorithm is just pushing because the quality of what I do, the certain mistakes and the stuff, I've done a lot of trial and error on Instagram. So with that trial and error, I've learned a lot. Like last year, today, right now, we are at like going to be 12 a.m. So it's going to be June 1st. Okay, in like another 4 minutes. Okay. It's going to be June 1st in 4 minutes. Last year, June 1st, I did not know anything about Voxpop. I did not know I'll be doing Voxpop. I did not know anything about podcasts. I probably never watched like an entire podcast. So coming from there and like just figuring out the small loopholes and trying to build yourself as a personality. Now, when you say podcast, you've seen Logan Paul podcast.
Yeah.
So why do people watch it? Because it's Logan Paul's podcast.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to build here. Because it's my Voxpop, it's my interviews I do with these artists. I have a certain style of the way I ask questions. There are certain questions that I repeat for each artist also about their creative process or what is something you want to tell the aspiring DJs or the artists which are coming up. So this is one point. They all of my audience know that I'll be asking to this particular artist or to every artist. So they want to listen to that perspective. So that perspective is there. So there is like certain things that I've set, like certain loopholes that I've covered, and a lot of trial and error, a lot of hard work as well. Because like
how much time does it take to edit your reels?
When it comes to editing, initially like I used to take like 2 hours, 2.5 hours, because like I should try to figure out, every time, like if you see from InShot, and then now I'm using one really good app which I wouldn't want to reveal right here.
After we finish shooting.
Yeah. So from like just shifting apps and doing a lot of trial and error, the way the captions come in and everything. So like I have done a lot of trial and error with that. So I think that changed a lot for me.
You're doing all this by yourself now, of course. Do you plan to get someone in to do it for you?
So
probably.
So I would like to even take the names here.
Yeah.
Like I have a few photographers who are in Mysore who did videography for me, started off doing Voxpop for me for free. So they're like his name is Prajwal, Tanish, all these guys are still students.
God bless.
Yeah, God bless them. So like they just believed in whatever I did. So I started doing Voxpop with them when I was 800 followers. So from 800 followers I started. Now I'm at 18K. Again, the followers didn't matter. And I came also as the top 15th content creator December 2022. And Instagram, its first payout, they gave me like 50,000 from Instagram. And that was
from Instagram?
Yeah, I got it from Instagram.
Instagram paid you 50,000.
Instagram paid me 50,000.
So that I have not heard of this. I know brands pay. I didn't know the app itself pays.
So creators. The app first time they rolled out like payments and everything. That is in Indian creators.
Damn,
so they chose like top 200 creators. And one day like I was just randomly chilling in my house and I get I got a few DM requests sending screenshots. You want 50,000? I thought it was a scam. I did not open the DM request. And then my friend said that I saw this BOI that is born on Instagram article. And then your name is actually on 15. It says Hyperfitex. I tap on the link, it comes to your account. So I actually Googled and I typed and it came like when I just saw the first 2 people actually got 1 lakh. And the next 13 and I was the 13th one there. So like top 15 from there. So when I tapped it, I was there. Like Justin Hyperfitex was there. And Instagram actually paid me. But Instagram takes a lot of taxes though.
Oh, what? Yeah?
Because this money was a reward.
So what, they give you 50,000, they take some money back?
They don't take money. Indian government takes money. Indian government takes money. So because it was a reward money, it was 31.4% tax.
31%?
31% tax because any lottery money or reward money in India gets that much amount of tax.
Oh, that's a scam, boss.
But it was not the money for me. Again,
it doesn't matter.
It was not at all the money for me. The fact that I actually got paid through something like Instagram, like Meta directly came and paid me, and also BOY Reels Reward Top 15 Content Creator. That was like a huge deal for me. So coming to like how brands approach me, like we just speaking about this earlier. So what brands do is they go on this Instagram.com or BOY.com. They see who and all have won these. So that's how they just tap on my account. So now brands also don't. I feel like even brands don't care about followers. They don't care about followers. They don't care about a blue tick. All they care about is the reach. And when they see like these people have come on this list, they just tap on them, send them the automated message or whatever they have, and be like, yeah, we need you to do this. We need you to do this, or get me your number, and they just call me, and that's how brand is. So I feel that changed a lot for me.
Yeah, of course. Tell me something weird that happened to you during Voxpop interviews.
Weird, okay.
Yeah.
So even today when I was doing a shoot, so the weirdest thing is people think I'm a salesman.
Okay.
So I'm just going with the mic, but because my mic is a DJI mic. Earlier I used to just record with my phone and then sing the audio and video. So I should just go up suddenly to a phone. I'll be like, excuse me. By the time I excuse me, no boss, I don't want. And they're like, no, thank you. And
don't sell us anything.
Yeah, sometimes, especially like I feel in Bangalore, in Mysore, at least I think they would. The thing is, Mysore is a smaller city, so I don't think like all people tend to be rude. At least they take a second to like listen. But in Bangalore, is just a busy city with people from all over India here. Yeah. And you know the funny part, I'm doing Voxpop in Bangalore, but 90% of the people I do Voxpop with are not Bangaloreans, not Kannadigas.
Yeah, they're not.
They are Northeast, and they are people from Tamil Nadu and Mallus.
100%.
Mallus are flooding here.
100%.
Yeah, so that's the thing. So they just turn out like straight up rude. They're like, no. They're like, no. I'm like, I didn't even start. I didn't even say anything. And then my videographer is also looking at me. And I'm just
how do you choose? How do you choose? You're looking at them, and what are you going with? With what they wear? With who they're hanging around with?
I just feel like I have like, when I look at a certain person, I would like understand or reciprocate like how they would like speak to me back, or like I just feel like you can just look at a person and know if they're well versed in English, because I do my Voxpop in English. I just go with whatever is in my mind and I just approach. But certain times, you get rejection like this in a rude way. They're like, no. They're like, salesman, no, sorry. And especially it's the guys, couples. When the couples come, these guys holding this girl hand, and when I just go say, excuse me, and they're like, no, boss, I don't want to do this. They say it so seriously, and that's like, really
it's just Indian audience.
They're just trying to show off their dominance there, or they're trying to just show that, I don't know, like they're just trying to act very protective, and I'm like, the girl is so interested. She's like, let's do it.
And the guy is like,
no, you don't want to be on camera. She wants to do it, and he's just pulling her hand and going. This happens a lot. So I feel like this is very weird, and I've come across, the funny part is I've come across this in the place I do Voxpop the most nowadays, that is Church Street.
Have you considered doing this in other languages?
I'll
tell you where I'm coming from, right? Now we've been doing this podcast for a while, and of course, like we were discussing, many things we can change here to, make this place reach more people, right? One of it is, like we had discussed on the Instagram bit, there are a lot of changes that we can make to reach more people. But I definitely feel like language in itself, in a country like India, if you would be doing Malayalam Voxpop, you'd be at 200k. Do you agree?
True.
Yeah. So what do you feel about that? Do you plan to do it?
True. So the thing with me is, okay, so this is going to be a little funny story. So my dad and mom both are Mallu. They have their background. So my dad was born and brought up in Coorg, Virajpet, and my mom was born and brought up here in Bangalore, even though both are Mallus. And they got married. And after they got married, they never spoke in Malayalam to each other. They spoke only in English to each other.
Okay.
I don't know. I feel like this
like
is because,
most parents was today, like look around. Like,
nowadays, but I think they spoke because, like I feel just like you said, like Kannada has like different types of Kannada, like in the North Karnataka and here. So I feel like Malayalam has like lot of different types of Malayalam. So they just decided to speak in English because I feel like both are from different areas in Malayalam and their family speaks different. I don't know, but they just chose to speak in English because they have been in the city and everything. And that way, like, to be honest, I've never learned the language, my own mother tongue, through my family that much. But yeah, like I've learned here and there. And the only way I've learned is through relatives and through movies. I watch a lot of Malayalam movies because I feel Malayalam movies are great in terms of production. And okay, that's a different topic. Okay, so yeah, that's how like I learned Malayalam. So when it comes to regional language, I always thought like I could do something, because I've seen a lot of vloggers, I've seen a lot of people doing podcasts as well. When they go and tap the regional language, they suddenly boom. Like, you know, you have so many supporters because they're speaking that
Your
language.
God.
Yeah, that's exactly what happens. So I feel like if I would start in Kannada, I would like really kill it as well.
Yeah.
Because I've been in Karnataka, I know Kannada.
100%.
Yeah, I know Kannada. But
You will grow in the next 2 months.
exactly. But
Yeah.
the thing is, I feel like my Kannada accent and the certain words I take up is really funny because I have my
And that
Kannadiga
might cause
friends.
issues.
That might cause issues. So the thing that happened recently was I was called as the jury for this fashion show that happened in Mysore.
Yeah, I saw
Yeah,
that.
it was an inter-college fashion show, and I was also called as the guest there, and I had to go on stage and announce. So with me was a Kannada actress. So she just started speaking in Kannada. So she was like, "Ivattu sandalwood night," and she just started speaking in Kannada, and I just looked at her because before going on stage, we decided to speak in English. And she started speaking in Kannada. So my heart is throbbing there. Like 3,000 people are there, and she started speaking Kannada. What do I do? And then I thought like I'll start speaking Kannada. But then there were people also with the Karnataka flag, you know, like right there. And I thought if I speak Kannada and if I screw it up, they'll come on stage and they'll beat me up. So I just started like, all right, guys, so the fashion show winners are, and I
That's
just
it,
went
you
on.
jumped into it.
Yeah, but I also felt like, you know, I could have told, like, I still regret this. Like, I feel like even though my Kannada is not that great, I could have told like 2 lines. In Kannada ಅಷ್ಟೊಂದು ಬರಲ್ಲ ಆದ್ರೇನು ಏನಾದ್ರೂ ಅಡ್ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಕ್ ನೋಡ್ತೀನಿ, something like that. Okay,
that still wins some hearts. They're like, okay,
that wins some hearts.
he's at least trying.
So at that point when I just went on stage, that didn't come into my mind. I felt like I should have said something like that. But I feel like until and unless at least like 95% well versed in the language, you cannot start regional content. So like
That's your...
I am in between. Like Malayalam, I would say I know 160%, Kannada 60%. I know Kodavatak also. So because my dad is from
because your dad's from
Tamil
Rajput,
Theriyum, I know everything. Like it's all in bits again.
I'm just thinking, right? Like, just if you just try, because the part of the Voxpop where you're speaking is also, I would say, 30%. Would you agree?
Yeah.
Out of your whole bit, 30% is you speaking. Do you agree?
Not even 30%, I would
Even
say,
lesser.
because I'm
And I
just
was
asking
being
the question in the beginning.
positive. Yeah. So you
Yeah.
can still try, because you'll get a lot of people who will be Malayalis, who will be Kannadigas, who will be Tamilians. And I don't know. But again, that's a different debate by itself. But I just feel like language plays a huge role in... you know how your growth is on Instagram.
But then it's also very tricky because at one point I had this, I wouldn't want to take the page, I blocked the page, but it was like this extremist Kannada page.
Is it?
Yeah, which texted me saying that you shouldn't do Voxpop, you're spoiling Mysorean's name, you're spoiling Bengalurian's name, and it was like a direct threat to me. And it was like, you better start doing Kannada content. I'm like, ನಾನು ಕನ್ನಡಿಗ ಅಲ್ಲ, ಆದ್ರೇನು ನಾನು ಮಾತಾಡಕ್ ನೋಡ್ತೀನಿ, ನಾನು ಆದಷ್ಟು ಸ್ಟೋರಿಲೆಲ್ಲ ಮಾತಾಡಕ್ ನೋಡ್ತೀನಿ. I'm trying to manage, so I'm doing that. But my content is primarily English because I'm also doing artist and celebrity podcast. You don't expect me to speak in Boris Bacha and Kannada. You don't speak to me. So when I'm doing in English, I didn't want to mix it up on my account.
Yeah, it's a different path you're taking. Also, when you said,
Exactly.
right, all these artists and their teams, when they look you up and suddenly they see a different
Exactly.
language on your profile, they might not go for it, thinking your audience may not really get it, right?
Because the thing I'm focusing is something which is very new here in India. The whole concept with doing artist interviews with artists which are flying into India. And these artists definitely need English. And they themselves, like certain artists, they're from Germany, and so they're more well versed in their language than English. So they're also trying to manage English, and I'm trying to speak in English.
And then you go even more regional, and it's
even
like
if I think anything like speaking about anything, they won't even consider me like in certain circumstances.
So I'm going to test your memory a bit. Give me the top 3 questions that earned you the most views.
Okay. Okay, so the very first one, which I would say, like, what is the first thing you notice in a girl? So I want you to answer this.
Boss, you first give me top three questions. You first tell me. I just want to test your
Okay,
memory.
so
Okay. What's the first thing you notice in a girl? Okay.
yeah, and like how many months are there in a year, which has like 28 days?
Okay.
Okay, that is like that got like 6.7 million. Okay, you don't. Did you like research before I said this?
I've seen most of your stuff. This 28 days thing I hadn't seen.
Okay, and the recent one was like, what is the biggest?
No, I don't know the answer if that's what you're asking me. I don't know the answer to this. I don't know your top three viewed. Like I've seen your stuff, but I don't know the
Okay,
top
so
three
these two
viewed.
questions, and the one was a little recent. It's almost equal to my other views, which got almost 3.4 million.
Okay.
I think that is what is the biggest lie you have ever told someone?
Your mom, you asked, not someone. You also asked what is
No,
what is
no.
what is the one thing you liked to your mom? You've asked no.
No, not your mom.
Boss, what are you saying?
Really?
You've interviewed this guy. He's standing with his mom, and you
Oh
ask
yeah,
him.
yeah, that is like a part. Yeah, that is not my viral video. That is like I did this for donate card
Okay,
for
but
Mother's
you've
Day.
done
Yeah,
that.
I've asked that
Okay,
question.
okay. Oh, so
I'm
you've
talking about
done
top
this.
three viral,
Top
yeah.
three viral was what's the biggest lie
Lie
you've
I've
ever told?
told someone. Yeah.
Okay, what's the most controversial reel you've ever had?
Most controversial reel, starting with who do you think should spend on the first date, like men or women? So I had like men bashing women and women bashing men, and that went like almost 2,500 comments, more than the likes of that video, and then that actually became like a very viral video as well. Apart from that, the recent one, which was like about asking a bisexual guy, like what does it feel to be a bisexual guy? What is the advantage? Something like that.
So great, boss. You've set the tone right now. It's time for you to answer these questions, right?
All right.
So that was the whole plot was that for you to start answering these questions yourself.
Are you serious?
Okay. So the first question was the first thing you notice about a girl.
Okay, if you would ask genuinely what is something you notice about a girl, I would say character matters the most. And for me, like the vocabulary and the way you communicate like really matters the most. So that is what I would say.
Okay. What's the biggest lie you've ever said?
The biggest lie, you know how it feels to be on the other side.
Take it, boss. Fucking googly.
Okay, the biggest lie I would have told is probably I've told my dad back in 11th grade itself. Like
Okay.
I drank so much that I used to like come back home, put so much mouthwash in my mouth, rinse. Then I used to be so scared, like, you know, of getting caught that I used to even sometimes carry a toothbrush so that I just brush at my friend's place. I'd come in and then I'm just standing there and I told him, I just stood for at a distance and I told him I'm not drunk. But eventually I got caught either way. So I think that was like one of the biggest lie and I tried to cover up, but yeah, it blew up.
What is your view on how feminism is approached today?
Oh my, this guy is going. Okay, like I wouldn't mind saying this. So I feel feminism has been taken just for a toss nowadays. So if you go and ask a person who says they are a feminist, what is feminism, they wouldn't get the actual meaning of it. Okay, when you just ask what is feminism, it's just supporting all girls, not being there with misogynists. So I don't think that is like what feminism is. Like feminism has for its it has its own stand. It's basically like giving equal rights to men, like to women, and just saying that you're no different from a man. So both genders are equally treated. But now the whole point of being equally treated has been taken for a toss. Now feminism has become something like, okay, women should overpower the entire scene. So I think right now feminism, in certain circumstances, I think I would support when it comes to like earlier, not now. Now it's almost equal, I would say. I don't think there is much difference between, or there's like a actual gender bias statements also happening these days, because when it comes to employment and salaries and everything, I know that women are being even paid even more higher than men. And even the brands that approach me are women and they are paying me. So I wouldn't say like feminism is really playing a big role there. So yeah, like the whole take on feminism and how you put it forward, like just don't call yourself a feminist if you don't even understand the meaning of feminism. After all, it's just equality, and that's like calling men and women equal.
Okay. God gives you two options. One, hook up with the 50 hottest women of the world. Two, you never get to sleep with any other woman apart from the one that you choose?
I would
Which
go
one
with option 2, a straight up option.
Lies, boss.
No, I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why.
Okay.
Especially because like this was an open question. Firstly,
Some loophole you figured out or what?
Yeah, keeping in mind that this is an open question and you asked me that I would just randomly sleep with 50 hottest women. That would
Not
also
randomly, it's God given, boss. God can decide whatever He wants. No. So God is giving you the option saying you either sleep with 50 hottest women of the world or you choose one for the rest of your life. Yeah.
I would choose one for the rest of my life because these 50 other women I'm sleeping with wouldn't like value me as a person. That's what I feel. Like it would just be one person today and the other person the next week. And this person wouldn't really care about me in my future. So it would be this one woman in my life who would actually make more sense because when it comes to career, when it comes to like you leading on a life together, that would make more sense for me. Yeah.
Okay. What do you think about equal rights for the LGBTQ community?
Okay, the LGBTQ
And what do you
community.
feel about them as a community?
Okay, when it comes to like actual biology and everything, like I would say like there is just male, female, and transgender. Like that is what I believe, and that
Okay.
is how the chromosome, the XY, that stuff, right? I don't have to explain the entire thing here. Almost all the viewers itself will be knowing. So that's what I believe. When there are so many genders and there are so many like sexualities which don't make sense nowadays. But yeah, like when after all, it's like just certain people's opinion, but at times it would get like a little irritating because I saw someone recently on the internet
Okay.
saying that their sexuality, I am a human doormat. And what?
Huh?
Yeah, I am a human doormat. So what he does is he identifies himself as a human doormat, and then he's just sleeping there and letting women walk over him. So he's saying this in a video. He's saying, I identify myself as a human doormat, and this was put on Vice India. The page Vice India. It's just like this page like Brute and their verified profile. So they put this. He just identifies himself as like, I'm a human doormat. I'm a professional human doormat. What does that mean? Like
Getting
that
a
is
little absurd.
yeah, that is like something which doesn't even make sense. Okay, sexualities and certain like you have like certain feelings is different, and this I wouldn't call it like a sexuality. I would call this something like madness. And he's letting a woman put her feet in his mouth, and that is just like something disgusting or something like you just don't value yourself. So that way, like I just feel like I wouldn't do anything specific to support. And if I had to in a certain circumstance, like like they're really getting down, I think I would support in that kind of circumstances. Like because I don't feel like any human, because everyone are humans after all, and everyone have their own perspective, like whatever it is, whatever they feel. So I feel like yeah, they can do whatever they want. Just don't make it weird for the world.
Yeah.
Like calling yourself a human doormat and saying that yeah, I'm a human doormat, put your feet in my mouth. So that makes a lot of difference there.
The last question.
Okay. The questions are really well planned. Okay, the questions
Because these
are.
were not planned. I swear these were not planned.
you serious?
This is
I can see the man behind the camera laughing just before you even ask the question.
no, these were not. You can ask both of them. I've not paid them any money anyway to tell any lies here.
Okay.
That's all. I forgot my last question. Yeah. So you identify yourself as Gen Z, right?
Technically with the years,
Technically.
yeah.
Technically only. I'm
Being
asking.
with the years, technically, yeah, because
Technically, yes.
I'm born in 2001, and that comes under Gen Z.
Okay. I have a very personal problem
Okay.
with Gen Z.
Okay.
So my personal problem with Gen Z is I just feel I don't know if I'm gonna get hate for this, but I just feel the average length of a relationship in the Gen Z world has just dropped.
Drastically.
You agree?
I agree. Completely agree.
Relief. You also agree or also?
I completely agree. The thing
Now
is,
my issue with this is, I mean, I'm 29 now. I was also 21.
Okay.
But at 21, I had a big group of friends. A lot of us did believe in long-term relationships.
Okay.
We went out to date, yeah, I mean, you hook up here and there, but when you're serious about someone, it is very clear that you're trying to build this long-term relationship with your partner.
Yeah.
I mean, uh, has that need gone away, or is it not possible anymore? What's the scene, boss?
Okay, so if you would consider me as Gen Z, like I have been against Gen Zs in so many situations, like because I have a younger sister.
Oh,
She
yeah?
just finished her 12th. So
Wow.
like I can see like the people around her, like they are the actual Gen Zs, you know, like I can see there's a lot of difference between like 2021 to 2023. I feel there's a lot of difference. Okay, like even with like so much many things like gender, sexuality and everything never came like when I was studying in school. Like, you know,
It's new to you as well.
it-
That's how
it is
new it is.
Yeah, that's very new to me. But then when I go back to my sister's class or somewhere there, like 4 years down, that is just so common that I just feel like an alien person there. So when you're asking about relationships and stuff like that, I don't think it's impossible. Because recently I did this Voxpop and it was like I intentionally targeted younger audience. So when I asked them some questions like, would you rather choose relationship or something like a casual fling? I got most of them saying relationship and I asked them why. When I asked them why, they said like it just gives a sense of security and everything. But I also got like certain Gen Z kids saying casual flings, who does relationships. So I just feel like even in this whole Gen Z era, there is like a 50% which actually understands like the concepts of love, concepts of relationships and everything. But there are like people who are trying to influence their influence stupidity and just make this whole thing like situationships and everything like actually a thing. You know, like
Yeah.
the thing is at one point even I've been there.
Yeah, of course.
At
I mean,
one
we've
point even
all-
I've been there. So I took like some time to realize that what I'm doing is also bullshit.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that just happens.
It doesn't,
So, yeah.
it doesn't. So, from what you said, what makes it clear is no matter when you are born, I think by human nature, everyone wants a long term relationship. Like
Yeah.
most, I would
Yeah.
say 7 out of 10 people inherently want a long term relationship. I think the problem why it's drastically reduced is the ease with which you can break off a long term relationship has gotten much easier now. Right?
Yeah.
It was much harder to, first of all, get into a relationship, say 40 years ago, 50 years ago. So then, you basically you look at someone at the distance and you got married. Your grandparents will tell you these stories, right?
Yeah.
And then, of course, like the objective is to get into a long-term relationship, but again, like the options are so many today. I think now everyone's on fucking dating apps.
Exactly.
And what I also don't like is there was a time when passwords were not a big thing on the phone. Now sharing your password is like putting a ring on the finger.
Yeah.
Like you giving your password.
I like that.
Yeah, you giving your password to your girlfriend or your boyfriend, whatever it is like, hey, listen, we're almost like engaged now. That's the fucking importance that it's
Exactly.
given. Because chances of someone cheating on the other person today are, I don't know, what would you say out of 10?
On a scale of 10, I would say like 8.
Yeah.
Especially in the Gen Z, with the Gen Z kids. So there's one more point that I wanted to put forward. Especially the kids who are born like 2004 or 5 after that, and now like in 2023. Like one thing what you can notice is like I created my Facebook account like in 6th grade. And that was like pretty early for me, but then it was just a Facebook account for the sake of it because everyone was going with the flow. I didn't post anything, nothing like that. It was not like a texting platform for me. And I got my first, there was this company called Carbon.
Yeah.
Carbon is a phone brand, just like Nokia. So they used
Carbon
to make
with
like
a K, no?
yeah, K.
Yeah, I know.
So they have this touchscreen phone, like it's just like
Damn cheap,
1,200.
boss.
Yeah,
Damn
damn
cheap,
cheap. So
yeah.
I asked my dad first for that, and then once I started like playing the guitar and everything in 9th grade, I asked for like one Samsung tab because I wanted to see my lyrics and everything. So that's when I got like my phone and stuff as well. Because even me being born in 2001, like around 8th grade, 9th grade is when I got. But now if you see the kids who are born like after 2005, they have like a proper iPhone 12 or an iPhone 12 Pro right in second, third grade. And when I'm saying second, third grade, I actually mean it. Like I've seen people like
They
in
own
family functions,
iPhone.
they own an iPhone. They own an iPhone. They either using it for gaming or something like that. And wouldn't even believe. Like I had this fifth grade girl who is a sister of my friend. So she's on Instagram already, fifth grade, on Instagram already, like private account and stuff, already posting pictures and everything. Apart from that, like I just realized like private account. So I asked this girl like, how's she on Instagram? So she has an iPhone 12. So she had an iPhone 12 and everything. And she's just coming up to me, fifth grade girl is coming up to me. I know everything about sex. I know everything about that. Like I was like,
Fifth grade
shit.
is what, boss? Like 10,
Yeah.
11? 11? Yeah, you're 11.
So like I know everything. So like at that moment, like I flipped. Like fifth grade, I was really like I don't even think I watched porn in fifth grade.
Yeah.
So I don't even know
I
that.
don't
So,
even
like,
know what your dick does.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Bro, like,
What I could do.
bro. Okay, continue, bro.
I agree with that. So yeah, so like when a girl who's in fifth grade with an iPhone 12 who has an Instagram account, Facebook, who knows a lot about phones and everything, which I had no clue about until like I was in 9th or 10th grade. So that like makes a lot of difference. I feel that exposure, that initial exposure they're giving, by the time they're in 10th grade or 12th grade, they're like, bro, dating is not for me. Like I just do hookups. I'm like, what? 12th grade kid is just speaking this shit. So like it just becomes like that.
Worse.
It's gotten worse. I
worse.
feel like that initial exposure, the thing is like these kids are generally like spoiled kids, to be honest. Like if you're giving a fifth grader an iPhone 12 which just launched, like that was like 2
Yeah, I
years
think
ago.
we can make that claim. I think we can make the claim that you're a spoiled kid.
Yeah, you're a spoiled kid. And the thing is, every kid in this Gen Z thing, which is like after 2005, 2006, is a spoiled kid. I wouldn't say like every kid, at least like I would say 80%. Like has a phone and everything. Like it's just, like everything is like very open.
Yeah.
So I feel that would made like a very big impact in this whole Gen Z thing, and things with the relationships getting screwed up.
Yeah.
Things generally in life, like they see it in a total different perspective.
Yeah.
And sometimes like I just feel like I have to learn from them. I'm like, what is this? They're speaking so much. They're like speaking like they're so intellectual.
Yeah.
The stuff they speak, the words they use is like way higher than the stuff I spoke in 8th grade. I did not know. I was like learning stuff back then. I did not know how to go and speak to a girl or ask out a girl. Like I remember like texting on Facebook Messenger in 9th grade for my like that. Like that was how it was. But right now they're like Instagram, WhatsApp. You call me video call. Like I'm like okay, 9th grade.
So let's assume tomorrow you wake up and you don't have an Instagram profile anymore. I've taken away everything from you. Justin doesn't have an Instagram. You don't have a social media presence. You think you'll be able to survive?
Yes, definitely.
I don't think so.
I'll tell you why. Okay, I'll tell you why. Because I did not know, as I said, 1 year ago, I would be doing Voxpop. If I have done something with social media, something with Voxpop, it is because like I knew that whatever I'm doing
But how
has
do you
to
make
scale.
money?
Money doesn't really have to be only from social media again. Like I would probably take an initial investment either from a bank or from my dad. I would do something, but I wouldn't do a corporate job because that is not my thing. I feel like I have more of a creative mindset. I used to also perform like live gigs and I used to get paid as well. So starting
How often
from
do you
there-
check your Instagram?
Very often, to be honest. Like being a content
What's your
creator.
Instagram time spent every day?
Let's check right now.
Let's check.
Okay. Okay. Daily average of
averages?
3 hours 17 minutes.
Wow. That's quite a bit.
3 hours 17 minutes is actually less.
What?
I thought I would be
What
spending
yours? 6
hours, to be honest.
For today, I think it's 2 hours 15 minutes.
I thought I would be
That is
spending 6 hours, but I'm surprised it's 3 hours.
You're
An
saying
average.
that's less.
That's less because like I tend to like open like if I post a reel, that's just how a creator's mind works. Like after every 2 hours, you're just checking if that reel actually worked or not. So that really happens.
Justin, I'm done with my questions, man. I think I've enjoyed this. Is there anything you want to speak about that I haven't touched on?
Nothing in particular because you got me with all the questions as well.
What, do you want to say something?
Stop.
Playing with my ring? Okay.
So you tell me, like, so now let me start like some of my
Well,
stuff.
don't ask me all these controversial questions. Like,
No, not controversial
yeah,
questions.
yeah.
So in terms of a creator, you doing podcasts today.
Yeah.
So even I'm a person who's very closely related to this field. So where do you think like you would take your OAPN network to?
Yeah, I think it's a nice question. I always, of course, love talking about it, and you will know it's very rare that we get asked questions and we get to speak about
That's
it.
what
right?
happens when you call a person who asks questions.
Yeah, I think to be honest, right, I've been very transparent about this. I think what we have not done too well is focused on marketing this podcast and ensuring that it reaches people. And there's a pretty solid reason behind it. I wanted to ensure, like, our the first 15 seconds, the intro of the podcast says that this is a real conversation, no bullshit, no cuts. It's as authentic as you can get it. And as simple as that sounds, right, it's not. Because when the camera turns on, there is a huge chance of you adding filters even without you knowing that. Right? You will add in those filters. You become a different individual on camera even without you realizing that. And honestly, the last 1.5 years, I've spent that time ensuring to make the episode as real as possible.
Definitely.
And to make and this is the problem, right? The 50 minutes and the 1 hour thing already seems like a long thing, but it's probably my shortest attempt at making something so real. Right?
Love that.
You can't make something so real in a span of 1 hour, and you're talking about a person's life journey up until wherever that person is right now, right? So I think for us, the OAPN network has stood in a definition of ensuring that irrespective of how the content game is going, irrespective of how algorithms are changing, irrespective of what people are doing in their life, we want to ensure that we document it in the most authentic way possible, in a way that you would talk to someone like a friend. And I know for a fact that a lot of podcasts say, you know what, this is real and this is authentic. Fuck you, dude, it's a performance. You're trying to win a brand, you're trying to convince some people around you.
Exactly.
And I'm telling you, there's this very strong reason. Like, you told me yourself, right? You told me like at 54 episodes, you should have been at 100K followers. And I agree. And I'm not denying it. And I probably, like, I'm going to sit down with you and we are going to discuss this. But my first vision was, are we really making it real? Or are we performing? Right? And now we are at a time where we know we are making it as real as possible.
Okay.
We are confident that we are one of those only podcasts that is as real as this is, and it is not a performance. Two people sitting here is not a performance.
Definitely.
So yeah, with OAPN network, we want to be, I think, in a place where, like, even you, right? You're 21 now. And when you were speaking about all these things, I'll tell you very frankly. And I mean, we interview people every week. And like you know, as an interviewer, you get a vibe. You know what the person is about. You know what capabilities are. You know how far that person can go. And I've sat across this table and I've had my own observations about a lot of people and understanding how far this person is capable of going with what they've spoken today. The way I see you today, I feel like by the time you're 26, 27, and I'm saying this on camera, and I don't care who sees it and who doesn't see it, you're going to remember this. By the age of 26, 27, you're going to be so fucking extremely famous that it's probably going to be hard for us to get in touch with you.
I really appreciate that.
Okay? There's a lot of things you're doing right. One, you're very aware about yourself. Second, you have this interest in understanding what the audience wants to hear. Third, you have the skill of editing your content into making sure that it reaches them. To have all these three just within you is a very rare like combination according to me. And right through this episode, I knew for a fact that I'm gonna look back at this episode and be like, bitch, like I got this done like way early in my career. And that's how I look at you. It's gonna test you in a lot of ways. I think there are some personal tests that you haven't predicted yet that's gonna come your way.
Of course. I
Yeah.
know there's gonna be a big
Yeah.
backlash on me someday.
I don't know what that is. Because this is also another thing about early success, right?
Yeah.
Because you've said this 4 times on this podcast, and you kept saying, I started 1 year ago. I started 1 year ago. I started 1 year ago. Resuming, we had a little battery change thing. You were saying you didn't start exactly a year ago.
Yeah, I did not start a year ago. I said a year ago I did not know I would be here. But I have started in October. So that's the funny part, like I was telling you, like I got the reach top 15 content creator. So October, November, December, I made that much reach in India that I had to come on the top 15. So that those 3 months, that's when I thought like, Voxpop and this whole interview and podcasting has potential.
So exactly what I was talking about you, right? So you've had this early success. And I'm just saying this because I told you my real genuine views, like I know there's ability to kill it here. The early success also has its own downfall, right? The early success, and like I've heard multiple people say this, the problem with early success is it also narrows your definition of what you're capable of, right? Now you're saying your podcast, your Voxpop and this and that, and you might probably at some point decide that that's what worked and maybe that's what I got to stick to. I think one thing I definitely request you to stick on to, a belief that you should stick on to is, okay, I'll give you this analogy that I'd heard, which I loved.
Okay.
It's like you take like, 20 days to climb this mountain. And while you're climbing, you're like, you know what, I gotta hit that peak. And when you get to that peak, you see there's this 3x larger mountain.
I
Right?
heard this, yeah.
Yeah, and the problem is to get to that 3x larger mountain, you got to get down this mountain that you've already climbed. And you're like, fuck, dude, like that's a lot of work.
Yeah.
And and that's going to be your biggest battle. That's the problem of early success.
So the thing you just spoke about right now has been happening right now in my life.
Okay.
So the thing is, like, exactly with the brand deals and the Voxpop reels I exactly do,
Tell me about it.
I have not been able to like deliver the stuff I actually am trying to take up. So the thing is, like, right now I see a lot of things coming. So many brand deals, so many companies giving this contract. You do this many reels, you get paid. So every single reel of mine is right now monetized. And I am not getting the time to do it. So today I had I spent the entire day doing this video for this particular brand. But I was also supposed to do for this other brand. So I wasn't getting time there.
Yeah.
So the early success and all these things coming together looks really good. But it is getting really stressful. Last night I had 2 hours of sleep and I'm here on this podcast or interview with OAPN Network right here with 2 hours of sleep and an entire day of work.
And
So,
I don't know if you guys have noticed, this guy's eyes have gotten red like 4 times this episode.
Yeah.
But again, man, don't burn out. Take your breaks. Figure out, while there was a generation that had to learn how to hustle, yours is a generation that needs to learn how to rest.
Yeah. True.
Right? And it's so easy to observe this because yours is also a generation that has the highest amount of anxiety and panic attacks and depression, because burnouts are so high right now because of living this constant bit. So while we have to learn how to hustle, y'all have to learn how to rest. And that rest is worth it, boss. That rest will cost you some few thousands of rupees and a few brand collaborations, but it's going to be worth it.
For sure.
And you'll have to learn like where to give those pauses, right?
I've always considered that. I think my only drawback or my downfall is because I don't have like a solid team. As I said, like I have like few people behind the camera always, like even my cousin records for me, and like I have people recording like that. And I do like give a certain part of the payment and everything to them because they deserve it, because they're spending their time and doing stuff. But I feel like the thing is, because I'm editing each and every one of my reel, I've kept like 4 editors. I've paid them a basic price. None of them have tried to like edit the style I'm editing. They've not got it. So the whole process of you being in the video, you being out there, you traveling, you editing. So at this point, like it has come to a stage where it's like, really tiring and stuff. But I just feel like a few more days of hustling, and then like I would make enough money to afford myself a team, and then I would be able to pay that team off, and that's when I rest.
Yeah, as long as that's in the thing. Anything else you want to talk about?
So speaking about like putting it as real as possible.
Yeah.
So a person I mentioned earlier. So
Yeah.
like this, every person, like every creator has this one special person or a team who's like like pushing them always. It can be your parents, it
Yeah,
can be
yeah.
your friends, it can be your girlfriend, it can be anyone.
Yeah.
So this person always told me that like I feel like you're being really fake on the internet in the
Wow.
beginning. And like when I actually thought of it, like I was being very fake towards the beginning. Like just when I started my artist interviews and podcasts, the very first artist, like I was really hyped, like I'm getting a very big artist. No one has done an interview with them. And I did Zephyrtone and Sartek. Those were one of my first artists. They came into Mysore. I did in a 5-star hotel. So I was like really hyped up and speaking on my stories about this and being like little fake. I would agree.
Flexing. Yeah.
Flexing, and also like going out of my way. Like it's not generally the way I speak or the style I speak. I just started performing exactly what you just said earlier.
Yeah.
So I was doing that, like and at that one point I thought like I need to like really connect to the people who are watching my videos, and the way to connect is exactly like how you said, just be real. So I just started being real. Like when people approach me, like I used to start throwing this tantrums and attitude and stuff when I just had 1K followers or 2K followers, because I got this one artist. I was like really happy. Okay, I got this artist and everything. And okay, no one is even like, even if they want to get a picture with the artist, they cannot. Like initial
And you
stages,
got
like
that.
I did not get just a picture, but I got like a whole first interview of them and everything. So like I used to act cocky, I used to act fake on the internet, and I still feel like at certain points, even now, we do not know. We as content creators, at certain points, we tend to perform
You
even
don't know
without
when you're
knowing.
crossing that line. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah.
The thing is, like, if you spoke to me, if I speak to a new person, if I speak to a bunch of girls, if I speak to anyone, the confidence level I have there would be an 8 on 10. But for some reason, in front of a camera, it's like 11 on 10. Whenever it's in front of a camera, I get like really hyped, like if the camera is rolling, like this is really the other way around for a lot of people. Their camera is shy. When they see the camera, like they just cannot look into the camera. But I can look into the camera, right straight into the lens, and I can be so confident. That is just like one thing I discovered, like once I started doing Voxpop, once I started doing like interviews. So like I feel at that point, when you're that confident, you just try to take yourself, lift yourself up, and that becomes a little bit of performance. And I just feel like that is okay to an extent,
because that part of it is called showmanship.
Exactly.
If it's showmanship, it's okay, but the showmanship shouldn't take over your real personality. That's
exactly.
all. That's
so
all
at one point, like the showmanship was taking over my personality, and I wouldn't disagree. Like being there with artists, being there like speaking in podcasts with big influencers, verified accounts. So I got this reach at every club. I get this privilege of just going to VIP and just standing there because I'm in the entertainment industry. So that I kind of like misuse that privilege. Like not misuse that privilege in like I just like flex that privilege, showed myself in a certain way. But now just this point is that it's like it just comes to you. It comes to you, you take it and just be you. So like that is like something I've learned recently through a lot of thought process. Like just be real. Like if you even like screw up in front of camera, screw up in front of people, like it's fine. I feel like after all, it's just a process. A person who's like very successful, any celebrity who's successful has failed multiple times. So I feel at this point, instead of performing, if I rather fail, I feel that would be better.
Man, I mean, that's probably the best note to kind of end this on, because that's probably the most real part of this episode.
Yeah.
Right?
So are you saying
I'm saying everything was. No. I'm saying you were very genuine. You were definitely very genuine. But that bit was like very self-reflective.
Because I just thought like I had to tell this out, because there are a lot of content creators coming in, and then when I see like these small content creators, especially when they are my friends and the people I knew or spoke to earlier, and they're coming on camera or acting in a very different way, that's when I realized, oh shit, I was doing this. And this is how like people were seeing me. They're like, what is this guy doing? Why is he acting very foolish? Why is he acting so stupid? So this is how they saw me. I don't want that. So let them just think like how Justin is actually is. So now I don't even get called by my name. So Hyperfit has become something like, at even a club, they're like Hyperfit. They don't use the X sometimes. Or they're like, you hyper guy. You're the hyper guy, right?
Hyper guy.
So I get that. So,
That's nice.
like, I think Hyperfit and Justin just has to be the same personality now. And even carrying that forward. Yeah.
The difference between Justin and the Hyperfit X is the showmanship. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
And that's okay. So anyway, we've come to an end of another wonderful episode. This is what we love doing.
I wouldn't say it's a complete end because episode 2 or 3 also might come out.
Will. So that's another thing. You asked us about OAPN network. Our vision, I think we've repeated this on multiple episodes. Our vision is we make like this fucking documentary series of every artist. So 10 years down the line, we hope to have at least 5 parts with you where we've done a different episode at different phases of your life, irrespective of up and downs, so that a decade later, OAPN Network is the one-stop shop that has documented your life journey in a way that nobody else has. So there's definite a part 2, but it's an end for the part 1 for sure. Man, thank you so much. Thank you for being here.
And before I end this, like, I just want to say, like, as I was coming here, I came in an auto. So I came in an auto, like I was trying to like sleep for 10 minutes, at least like get a power nap in the auto, but it was impossible because of the noise and everything. But like I have only 2 hours of sleep and I came here, my eyes were literally flinching, like, because the less sleep, and I had like a work throughout the day. I was like shooting throughout the day and everything. And I came directly from there, I came here. And the energy that Adarsh has pulled off here is like amazing, because I really love this entire episode, the way it went. And now I can say I'm fully awake. It's probably because of Jim Beam and the thing, and Adarsh as well. So OAPN network keeps you alive, keeps you awake. So
Thanks, man.
I feel like this episode would make certain changes in certain people's life. Either ways, like I don't think like I would directly impact in anyone's life, because I feel like I have a lot to learn myself. But that's indirectly, one way or the other, my small little journey that you heard right here might impact some other way. I do this thing with every artist, so I just give like a hand to every artist I do in every podcast. So I'm doing the same with others.
Awesome.
So I really love doing this. Looking forward for another episode soon.
Awesome. So thank you. We almost 1 hour 35 minutes into this, and it's about 1 a.m. If you've listened to this far, let us know, because then we'll know that you're a true fan, or rather supporter. As Justin has mentioned. So thanks to everyone who's watched till here. Thanks to Justin for being here. This was yet another episode that we have enjoyed. We have a lot to learn from. There's a long way to go for us as well, and I hope you come along. Thank you. See you on the next one.